Show me someone who hates Tommy DeVito, and I'll show you someone whose kneecaps won't be intact by the end of next week. For real though, how can you not love this kid? Whether it's his scrappy playstyle, his family kissing each other in the stands, his agent showing up like he's got an audition for the Godfather reboot after the game, or the Italian hands coming out every time he scores, there's something special happening around Tommy Cutlets. The undrafted rookie has given something to the people of New Jersey that seemed impossible in the midst of a shitstorm Giants season. And that's hope.
Let's keep feeling this feeling, man. Let's go. Giants on 3. 1, 2, 3. Giants.
Usually, with a guy in his position, we get all the hype stories, talk ourselves into him being able to do something, maybe, at least enough to cover a bet or two, and then he lives on as a, remember that season when we had 3 starters and this guy started? I'm a Browns fan, and this cycle has been a tradition for as long as I can remember. A quote of his makes it to some random morning or late night show where the hosts crack some low effort jokes. We all have a good laugh and go on mostly to ignore the rest of the guy's starts until he's a backup again or out of the league entirely. But with DeVito, that's not happening. A lot of us can't stop paying attention to him. He's won 3 straight to push the Giants into the playoff hunt and has shown improvement throughout his starts. And the coaching staff seems to believe in him too. When asked what he said to DeVito before the Giants drove down the field with less than 2 minutes left to steal the game from Green Bay this past Monday night, head coach Brian Daboll responded that he gave Tommy a few plays he liked and told him to go out there and rip that son of a bitch. But there seems to just be a small division happening between fans. Is DeVito the quarterback of the future, or just football's version of Linsanity? In this video, we'll break down DeVito's play over the past few weeks, what he's done well, where he's improved, and the cracks in his game that may prevent him from finding sustained success. And I'll try to do all of this without using an Italian accent or mentioning gabagool. Let's get into it. So the sense I got watching the Packers game was the coaching staff told DeVito that if everything else goes to shit, just do these 2 things. 1, protect the ball, and 2, keep the offense on schedule. To do both of these things, I noticed DeVito being much quicker in his decision making when dropping back than he had previously. And while some of these quicker decisions can be seen as him leaving the pocket quickly or dropping his eyes to run without giving the play much time to develop, on a deeper viewing, I saw this more as a feature of DeVito's legs in the offense than a flaw in his ability to be a quarterback. There's plenty to be desired about his processing ability for sure, and we'll get into that, but I wanted to discuss first how his ability to use his legs helped drop his sack total to 0 on Monday night after having 15 through the past 2 games. Let's not forget who the Giants are and have been throughout this season. Their line has been held together by duct tape and Justin Pugh returning to action after a nice stint on his couch. According to Pro Football Focus, the Giants line grades out as dead last in the league. Original starter Daniel Jones leads the league in qualifying players in sack rate at 15.8%, above guys like Justin Fields, Zach Wilson, and Sam Howell. So, this wasn't just a function of DeVito coming in and taking sacks that weren't there before. This is a line that's given up a lot in pass protection. But that's not to say he's totally blameless either. His pressure to sack rate, a stat by PFF that tries to assign some blame to quarterbacks, led the league at a staggering 38.9%, just below Danny Dimes' 31.6%. New York had to figure out a way to mitigate this. The O-line wasn't just magically going to start playing better, and you weren't going to improve DeVito's processing power overnight, especially if he's facing pressure on almost every snap. To me, it seems the coaching staff thought, hey, we've got a guy that can run. If he doesn't like what he sees when he's dropping back, let's avoid the sack and pick up 3 to 5 yards to make the next down easier. Here's an example against the Packers. Notice how DeVito drops back, takes one hitch, doesn't like what he sees, and immediately tucks and runs. He isn't still surveying the field. He doesn't have the ball cocked ready to throw or pump fake. He's made his decision. He's running this. On the play design, the Giants help make this decision all the more simple and quick by keeping all the routes to one side of the field. There's no need to survey when you can see everything important happening by the time you hit the top of your drop back. I saw a much different DeVito when I rewatched his game against the Washington Commanders, where he took 9 sacks for a loss of 45 yards. Like here, where off of play action, he gets pressure in his face immediately, but seems to still want to throw the ball rather than just cut his losses and find an escape valve. Or this play, where he just doesn't really make a decision at all and waits for the pressure to come get him. It's a jailbreak screen pass, meaning the O-line is going to release immediately to block downfield, so he needed to know that if his hand comes off the ball, he's got to either throw this to his receiver or over him and away. If he doesn't like what he's seeing pre-snap or as he catches, then he should just pull this down immediately and try to get something behind his line releasing. But he just doesn't choose anything, and by the time he realizes the mistake he's made, the pass rush is already there to pull him to the ground. But his quickened decision making doesn't mean he always just ran after not seeing anything though. One of DeVito's best passes on Monday night came off a rollout where he kept his eyes up, avoided pressure, and found an open guy downfield. Of course, you'd rather him throw this ball with some anticipation to hit Jalen Hyatt coming open in the soft spot of the cover 3 zone, but credit to him for not giving up and finding Wan'Dale Robinson late in the play when the corner turns and takes away Hyatt, but leaves a path open down the sideline. DeVito rips this one with great accuracy, and Robinson makes a great decision to be available for his quarterback. But notice how this was a schemed up rollout to the right that DeVito kept alive. He decided he wanted to pass, and so he found an opening to make it happen. It's much different than this similar looking play against Washington, where DeVito drops back, hitches a couple times, wants to run left, and then is forced to roll out to his right. He makes a similarly good pass to Barkley, who also makes a good play like Robinson, but this is altogether a much less decisive play than the one we saw against Green Bay. It highlights DeVito's improvisational skills and ability to throw on the run, but it's ultimately a play that took a very long time to develop, with DeVito forced into decisions rather than choosing his own path. By making decisions more quickly and using his legs as a feature of his dropback game, along with using them on read option plays, it's no wonder that DeVito had his most effective game on the ground of his short career to the tune of 10 carries for 71 yards, including this 26-yarder that got the Giants down to the 1-yard line. Watching DeVito run like this, it's hard not to compare him to what Daniel Jones has looked like in a Giants uniform. And you can take this one of two ways. DeVito looks like a potential franchise quarterback that just got a 4-year, $160 million contract, or Jones, the guy New York just paid all this money to, looks like an undrafted rookie in his 4th start of his professional career. Dealer's choice. But it goes beyond just their straight line running abilities. Both of these guys have low average depths of target, with Jones leading the NFL in this metric last year and coming in 4th this season in limited time, and DeVito now ranking 8th in the league in this category. Jones is, right now, a better processor in the pocket and can make more things happen with his arm than DeVito can. And where we see this manifest itself the most is in their willingness to throw it to the middle, even on shorter depth. Where only 41% of DeVito's passes under 10 yards came in the middle of the field, 52% of Jones's came in this area of the field this season. And you can see DeVito's preference for the sidelines come up in film time and time again, where he routinely missed his tight end coming open on a curl route in that section of the field for easier yards and first downs. Here's a good example from Monday night. The Giants are facing 2 high safeties and are very likely in a cover 2 look, so the middle of the field might be crowded with this linebacker in coverage. Now, with the routes being ran, I assume the reads would go X receiver on the end running a skinny post route through the middle of the 2 safeties, and then if you didn't like this because the middle linebacker was mucking up your line to throw, then that should signal to you that the tight end curl in front of him is open. And if you don't like all of that, then you've got a safety valve crosser coming across the middle. But it seems to me like he hangs too long on the potential home run pass, then starts to vacate the pocket without giving his tight end a true look. He has to bail laterally rather than get downfield with his feet, and then throw a ball late to the crosser and give him very limited space to work. And it's not like DeVito can't hit the nice pass through the second level of the defense. He did exactly that on this throw against Washington early in the game. But again, the decision-making process just feels slow. He pulls this throw down, waits for it to develop, looking this way the whole time, and then he rips one through everyone. It's tough to know what exactly he was looking at when we're not in his head, but you'd rather see him make these decisions quicker and all in one motion rather than really having to see it through. But even on easier passes, he just doesn't seem as comfortable throwing and even just looking middle as he does to one of the sides. Whether it's just being late to an open crosser with minimal pressure like here against Washington. And then there are the much more concerning throws where the Commanders gave delayed pressure from the middle and DeVito never really clocked where the blitz was coming from and where his open space would be. On this one, the middle linebacker charges in late, vacating the space where two Giants receivers are coming, but his eyes stick to the left side of the play until the guy is already in his face, and by the time he realizes what's happening, it's too late to run or throw. Eventually, as he gets more reps under his belt, you'd like him to feel that extra rusher coming in from the middle and either get away around the outside with his legs or stand in the pocket and throw to where the guy is coming from. Then again, the throws DeVito made throughout the Green Bay game were safe with room for his receivers to run, and you can't fault him too much for that. He consistently hit quick out routes like this one, where he motions his guy over and then takes advantage of a safety with inside leverage against his guy running towards the sideline 5 yards down the field. Or like this one, where he's fine to take the easy smokescreen pass off to the side after seeing the coverage drop back and cover routes deeper downfield. He isn't getting bored or forcing stuff that isn't there. He's simply taking what's given to him and letting his guys take advantage. Of course, it would have been great to see him throw this middle to his open tight end, but it seems he's just not comfortable with this type of throw yet. But it wasn't just all safe stuff to the sidelines. DeVito made a couple great throws that utilize his arm strength and vision over these past few games. Look no further than the rollout pass he had near the goal line, where he sticks with the play and chucks up a ball on the run that's just perfectly placed to his receiver to go up and get it in the back of the end zone. Or this wheel route he hit Saquon Barkley on in the Washington game. This throw is perfectly on time, right as the linebacker is getting even with the receiver, and he gets it perfectly to Barkley in stride while avoiding the safety running over to protect against the touchdown. And then we have to talk about this last big pass against the Packers to win the game, where he hangs tough in the pocket and waits for his receiver to make a move against man coverage and get open. It's such a high leverage situation, but DeVito remains patient in a game he's had to speed up his decision-making process throughout. He hits a perfect pass to his guy to get them into field goal range. And it's stuff like this that gets you really excited for what could possibly be untapped potential inside DeVito. But right now, I think there are enough concerns with his limitations that stop any excitement short of naming him the starting quarterback beyond just week to week. Because of his quick internal timer to pull down balls and run through the middle of the line, along with his unwillingness to throw it there, will give defenses options to counter his effectiveness with. Whether it's keeping a spy choked up towards the middle of the line like Green Bay tried to do a couple of times to varying degrees of success. On this one, DeVito does a great job to stay patient for his tight end to give a block and then go for a delayed outlet to the outside. But you can see Green Bay trying to find ways to take away that middle scramble option. Or, more simply, teams can opt to run stunted pressures on more obvious passing downs or empty formations, with the emphasis being on the guy that's coming around the middle to swallow up a DeVito decision. We saw Washington use this concept a lot, but I thought this was a really nice deliberate attempt by Green Bay to trick DeVito into seeing what they wanted him to see. On this one, they have their middle linebacker initially blocking the space DeVito likes to run to, but then they have him aggressively trail the running back out to the flat. To DeVito, it would seem like the seas are parting for him to potentially scramble through for a nice gain. However, with a stunt also happening here, the defensive end is able to hide himself from DeVito's view until he's ready to swallow him up for trying to step through the open space. With more and more tape coming out on DeVito, it's worrisome to think about what some of the better defenses could do to trick him into seeing what he wants to see before the snap. Before we end today, I just wanted to make one thing absolutely clear. I have loved the Tommy Cutlets story. He's the reason we turn quarterbacks into avatars for the entire team, because when an unlikely hero like this emerges, it makes all the pressure we put onto these guys all the more sweet and meaningful. But with all that we've seen from him over these 4 starts, it's tough for me to advocate for him being anything more than a backup long term. I think the Giants are right to start him over Tyrod Taylor for the near future, and I think he's absolutely earned the right to start at quarterback until he proves the coaching staff wrong. ride the wave, and give the people of New Jersey hope. But there's a lot to be desired from his ability to process the game, especially post-snap. This isn't to say I think he can't develop into something more. This game against the Packers showed he could layer stuff onto his game. On Monday, it was layering on quicker decision making and utilizing his legs to give a more secure floor to an offense that wanted to stay on schedule to pick up first and keep themselves in the game. If one of these next games we can see him layer on a greater comfort with the middle of the field, or make quicker decisions with his arm outside the one read looks to the outside, this video may quickly become obsolete. But for right now, it would be irresponsible to label this story as anything more than the NFL's version of Linsanity. An improbable ascent by an improbable main character that we can all get behind. That we all want to turn into something more than just a blip on the radar, but a story that we probably already know the ending to, whether we want to admit it or not. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please remember to give it a like if you did enjoy it, and consider subscribing to Football Doesn't Matter so you can catch the next one. Thanks. Bye.